Well, welcome to Cab Crew Wednesday on August 5th of 2026. The year's moving right along. So hope everybody's doing well. And we'll see how everybody is. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat so far. Dwight Curley dropped in. Welcome, Dwight. Hope you're doing well. And we got the Autistic Wrestling Federation. Welcome. I don't know your first name, so if you want to put it in the chat, I'll call you by your first name. But welcome and thanks for stopping in. And we got Papa John here. How you doing, Papa John? Welcome. We got Russ from Russ's Rocking Old Train Stuff. How you doing, Russ? And we got Truck Shriver here. Hey, Chuck, how you doing? Welcome. Glad to see you in here. Then Jim Tedesco popped in. Hey, Jim, welcome. How you doing? Glad to see you in here. Let's see. Then John from Schuylkill River Valley. Welcome, John. How you doing tonight? Glad to see you in here. Everybody saying hello to everybody. That's good. So I think I said hello to everybody. If I missed anybody, let me know. I don't think so, but I got everybody I seen here in the chat. Y'all can hear me good, I hope. And the weather here was been pretty mild. It was 84 was the high today. Now right now it was like about 76, 75 now here in New Jersey. It was like a sort of, oh, thanks, John. It was in the, a little cloudy here. Sun was out, clouds and everything. I was getting alerts on my phone all day long. Good. Thanks a lot, Chuck. Jim, about flood watches. And we didn't have no rain. So how can you have a flood watch when there's no rain? You know, these people with their alerts are crazy sometimes. So that's what's going on with that. So I started a new mini project, which is not too bad of a thing. But I had to order some parts for it and stuff. And, I had one in stock, but I'll explain it in a minute. So what was going on was, as I'm looking over the layout and everything, at nighttime, all the lights are on in all the buildings, right? And right in front, all I can see is the back of the buildings. And these buildings didn't have windows in the back. So you couldn't see if there was a light was on. So I didn't know if the light was working or not. Lifted the building up and the light's on, but you can't see it. So I decided to do something. The one was a 7-Eleven building. So I decided just to rotate it 180 degrees, make the storefront face the front of the layout. So that way, when you're looking at the layout, you can look into the store. And then I'm going to put some 3D printed people walking on there. Before I didn't have to because you couldn't see it. Because you couldn't see the front of the store. And the other problem was when I originally bought my Just Plug light system, that's the Woodland Scenics lighting system. And it works really great. You just plug them in and they light up and everything. And there's controllers that you can control the light and do all kinds of stuff like that. Well, I had bought these nano lights. Hey, Mike, welcome. How you doing? Glad to see you in here. These nano lights are really small, and they're not that bright. So this was in the 7-Eleven store, and it wasn't lighting up that much. Now they have an LED light that's surface mounted. It has a little piece of double back tape, and you peel it off, and then you can stick it in the building somewhere. So I had one left, and that comes in this container. Let me make myself bigger. Comes in this container, and these are warm white, and they have cool white. And I said, well, I don't know what the difference is, but I had the warm white. So I plugged it in, and it seemed to brighten up the building a lot better than this little nano light did. The only problem was I had bleed out all over the building. So I said, let me try something. So I got some aluminum foil and cut it up, and then I pushed it up into the roof, and on one of the side walls I put a piece, and that seemed to take care of it. Hi, Russ. But I said, I don't like that idea. So before the show, I took some black paint and painted the inside of it, the roof and the wall, and now it doesn't bleed out. So I'm going to let it dry real good and see how it comes. Right now it's on the layout, and it looks like it's pretty good. Now I can glue some 3D printed people on the front of the store, and then on the one side I got to put a parking lot there. I got to make a parking lot so cars can come in and go into the store and stuff like that. Before it was just a couple of trees and there's grass there. I'm going to make a little small parking lot for a couple cars, and have a couple cars parked in there. People coming and going into the 7-Eleven store. So we'll see how that comes out. But the power line, I had to move, and I got to put a newer string on because I moved it to the other. When I rotated the building, it was right next to the pole, and it was a short piece, so I got to get a new piece and make it long. Well, I'll just put it on the other pole on the other side and drop it down into there. So maybe if I cut it off at that pole, that piece will be long enough to reach. I'll see. And then the other two buildings was the police station and the firehouse. They were back to back with the back spacing layout, and they have lights in them, and they have the same nano lights, and they're very dim, and you can't see them because the windows and the doors of the firehouse are in the front of the building. So what I did with those is I just turned them 90 degrees instead of 180 degrees. I just turned them 90 degrees. Now the front of the buildings are facing each other, and I have a bigger gap between the buildings now, and the fire trucks will be able to pull out and go out on the road in case of a fire or whatever. And the police cars can park inside that area also. So those power lines seem to be okay. I just got to move it a little bit. And the lights, since the warm, the bigger ones on this, like this one, I only have one left in this case. So I went on and Amazon. So I ordered them from Amazon. They'll be here tomorrow, and I can finish those two buildings. So I ordered 2 packs of these. That'll give me 4 of them. I have 2 houses that are on the other side of the street. They have the nano lights in them also, and they're very dim. You don't even know the lights are on in the building. So I'm going to see about replacing all these nano lights. Or what I might do is I might see what I have to do is I have a real thin tube in the layout where this used to go through. And that's why I got these in the first place, because they fit, I could slide them right up into the tube. And because the plug is pretty big, I don't have a straw big enough to cover this plug. It's just too big. I had a good sized straw that I got from Burger King one time. I saved them all. And, well, I could. Or what I was thinking about doing is some buildings are bigger, and maybe I can put the nano light on the other side. Because what I do is I cut it in half. I snip it in half, and then I pull it apart and skin the wires, push it down through the tube, and then I twist it together, and then I test the light to make sure it works. And if it does, then I solder the 2 wires together, and then I use that liquid electrical paint and paint them so that they don't short out by moving around if they move around. So I'll save these. Yeah, I have engine logo lights that I got. They're in the box. So these I'll use for buildings and stuff like that. Like some buildings might need 2 lights, and this might help. Like the 7-Eleven, the one light is on the one side of the store, and maybe I'll put this one in on the other side of the store. So I'll think about it and see what that comes out to be. So, so those other lights will come tomorrow. I'll be able to finish the firehouse and the police station and light them up better. And then, what if anybody comes, they'll be able to see the front of the buildings from the looking at it this way. You'll be able to see them, and you'll be able to see the light on. Like the police station will light up better because it has windows all the way around. The front door is solid, so you don't see the light coming through that, but the windows are open. The firehouse has 2 big bay doors, and I have the light in there, so it'll see it in there. And maybe I'll leave the other light in the office part of the firehouse and stuff like that. So we'll see. And so that's what I'm playing around with. And then I got to make new driveway for between the fire department and the police department. And I use that Woodland Scenic stuff, but I don't have any, so I'll have to order a bottle of that. So it makes the concrete, and I got to find out what the part number is, and I'll order that. And then I can make more concrete and park, driveways or sidewalks or whatever I need and stuff like that. So, so that's what I was working on. This couple odds and ends that, there was a couple of trees there by the 7-Eleven. I pulled them out today because I want to make the parking lot. Then I'll put the trees back in and stuff like that. And, that'll get that out of the way. So the lights, yeah, I just couldn't see the lights, on the building. So why have lights in them? So just turning them around, what's the difference which way they're facing? Um, you know, would be better to have it facing you when you're looking at the light instead of you can't see the front of the building like I can on the other buildings because they're all facing me. The buildings on the other layout, one, the bank, that's facing away from you, but you can, oh, that you can not see the light in that building either. And I got to look and see what kind of lights in there. But it has windows on the side, and if it was lit up, you'd be able to see that the bank was lit up. So I bet you I have a nano light in there too. And that one I can put the LED light on the roof, and then it'll light up the building that way. So I got to check some of the buildings out. Some of them I can see, some you can't. The lights I put in with the 3mm LEDs, they're bright, so they light up the building good. So it's just a little bit different than that. So and so the other thing I was working on was my track cleaning train that I made. I had uh, my F7 engine, but I started it at the top of the helix. So this was a car that I had gotten from that Mr. Track Cleaning guy that I had an extra one. So I said, I'm going to make a train out of this, and then I can run that on the helix and on the second level where the trains don't normally run, because all the trains that I have now have a Mr. Track Cleaning car or engine on them. So they'll clean the track whenever the train runs. But the other areas don't have those trains running on those tracks that often. And I can run this track cleaning car around there. So I said, I don't like the F7 engine because I couldn't consist it. Because going up the helix, I would need two engines to pull that track cleaning car up the helix. So I had a GP35 and an ST35 engine that I converted from DC to DCC. They had soundtracks, decoders in them. They were sound and everything, and they run perfectly. I put them on my test track, which is in here right now, and speed matched them and got them to run together. And then I set them up to be in a consist, and they hesitated and they wouldn't run. I changed CV19 to 0, and then they run smooth. So I don't know what's wrong with them. So I decided to get two engines that already had decoders in them and sound and everything. And they're in the boxes you see there. We'll open them up in a minute or two, and we'll open them up together and see what's in their boxes. They came today. Um, I had ordered the two engines. One came, they're both on eBay. We got good prices. They were, they're Atherin engines, Blue Box or Genesis or whatever they are. they have soundtracks to Sami 2 decoder with sound, both of them. And the engine numbers were 1 digit off. One was 1626, and the other one is 1627 or 2728. I forget, but they're different numbers, which was good. And one guy was in Pennsylvania, and the other guy was in Michigan. And the guy in Pennsylvania said his engine, it was going to be delivered by today. And the one in Michigan was going to be delivered by Friday. Well, the mail moved the things around real fast, and I got both of them today. And this train project, I have another project off of that, the caboose for that train. So I didn't want to put a Fred car on that train. I said, I'll just leave the caboose on that train. I had enough cabooses. I'll put a caboose on the train. And that caboose had a light in it. And it worked and everything. But then when I put it back on the track to test one of the tracks I was trying to test on, and it didn't light up. And I'm going, what's going on? So I took it apart and couldn't figure it out. So I watched a video of a guy putting lights in a caboose. And he used a couple of parts, some TCS decoders and TCS current keeper, and he used the KD 593 trucks. They have the wire on the truck, but they have the whiskers that connect to the axles. And I used them on a caboose a long time ago, a couple years back. And they tend to short out the track because those whiskers move. And what was happening is the whisker would move and it'd be touching the wheel. And that would short out the track because it shorted. So they're not reliable. So what I got after that was from the guy that I get my resistor wheels from. He makes the wheels with the brass tube on it. And I was soldering a wire on the brass tube. And that's what I had on this caboose. But I couldn't get any power out of the two wheels. And that was killing this circuit. This is the circuit I made for the light for inside the caboose. It's a board. It's a 360 board. A mini. It's called a mini 360. And if you look on eBay, you can find these things. They were, I got a bunch of them for a couple dollars. I forget. And then this is a rectifier, plus and minus. That's a capacitor. The blue thing there is a capacitor and the LED. And everything is soldered on the board. Other guys I've seen them do, they put wires and they have the light over here and the capacitor over there. So I soldered everything on the board and I just stuck this on some double back tape and put it inside the caboose. And when the wheels hit the track, it would light up, and then the capacitor would charge, and then once it went off, it would stay on for a minute. The capacitor held it for about 45 seconds to 50 seconds, I think it was something like that. But this wasn't working, because what I did was these two pins here, these two pins, that's where you solder the wires from the trucks onto this. And then that completes the circuit, okay? So what was happening was I wasn't getting power out of the trucks because I put the wheels on the track. So I just took some alligator clips off of the track here, and I touched these, and it wouldn't work. So what I did was I just moved this here a little bit and like straightened it out a little. Now, when I put the alligator clip on, if I clip it onto that one there, and I touch this side, the light lights up. And it stays on. If I take this off, take this one off, and it'll go out eventually. So the circuit works. But the wheels didn't work. So see what I mean? It stays on for a minute. It's still on. It just went off. Okay, so that's not bad. So, who cares? Notifications on my phone. So I said, there's got to be some kind of decoder. He was using a decoder. And then he put marker lights on the side of the caboose, and the caboose looked really cool with the lights on it and everything. And I said, okay. So I messaged the guy, and I asked him, where did he get his marker lights for the caboose? And then he replied, which was nice. I like when people reply when you comment. Matter of fact, I just got a message from Liz from Windsor Valley. I commented on her video, and she replied back. That's what I like. People, I comment. I like when they reply back and thank you for commenting and stuff. So I looked around for decoders for the caboose. Now I was going to, I didn't want to buy a Soundtracks decoder because that's awful expensive just to put in a caboose, just to get lights on the caboose. I looked at the Sound Car decoder, which has the sound on it, but it doesn't have any light functions on it. Well, I did a search, and eBay came up, and Soundtracks had a light accessory decoder for a caboose, and the guy was selling it. It was $22 for the decoder. It's a thin, it's about, it's 60 millimeters long. It'll fit right in my caboose. This is the caboose. It's a CSX, has a Coppola on the top. I got window material in the windows, stuff like that. And so I didn't want to order the decoder because I didn't know how long it was. Because the picture, it looked pretty long. I said, man, the cabooses, they're only, 32 footers or 40 footers or something like that. They're real small. And I go, okay. So on Monday, this was Monday, I was doing this, and I called Soundtracks, and the guys were just out and they were coming back in. They'll be back in the office on Tuesday. So I called them yesterday and talked to them about the decoder. And I called, and the girl in the sales department told me the length, and she was the one that told me it was 60 or 80 millimeters long. And I said, okay, good, that'll fit. So I ordered it, and the board has LEDs on it, so it'll light up the LEDs. And so today I talked to Soundtracks guys, and I asked them about it, and I said, can I add more lights to this board? And the guy says, yeah, you can, because it has the other functions for the other lights. So he says, yeah, you'll be able to add more lights to it. I said, okay. So then the guy got back to me on where to get the marker lights, and I ordered them today, and they shipped them out already today. That was pretty good. And that company was out in Washington, the state of Washington somewhere, and the package was already dropped off at the post office. So by the time they ship it back over here, it'll be Tuesday before I get those marker lights, and they'll go on the side of the caboose. I'll drill a hole in there, and then the light will fit in there, and then I'll have two lights on the side of the caboose, and then the caboose will be lit up and everything. So gotta make that one a little nicer, because that'll be on that one train. And all the magnet, I got the weights for this caboose. It has a metal plate on the bottom, but that's not heavy enough. So I had to add more weight. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2.5 ounces of weight to make this caboose weigh down. So, and then these are the side, the brake and the ladder and stuff. They're the parts that go on the side. So the whole caboose is all apart, and just waiting for the decoder to come. That I ordered on Tuesday, and it was from eBay, and he was in Pennsylvania also, and it went from Philadelphia, and now that's going to be delivered tomorrow. So I'll have the decoder tomorrow, so I'll be able to light up the caboose. So let's see, shipped. Yeah, it's shipped already. Yeah, so the marker lights will make it'll dress up the caboose a little bit. How much should the caboose weigh? Well, it depends on the length of the cars, not what the caboose weighs. All rolling stock, there's an NMRA chart that I printed out on my wall up there, and it goes from 36 foot. I have 36 foot. What its weight's supposed to be 40 foot, 42 foot. Different lengths. I have up to 80, an 80 footer or an 89 footer car, and I got them all the lengths. And then, like, some cars are, odd sizes. They're not 40, they're not 50, they might be 45. So I take what's 40 and 50 and divide that by, and I take that difference and I add the extra weight to a 45 footer and stuff like that. So that chart is available on the NRMA site. It gives you all what the weights are for the lengths of the car. That's HO scale cars up there. Know nothing about any other scale weights. I don't know if the NRMA had them charts. I only was interested in the HO at that time, and I'm sure they have them for the different scales and stuff. So it was pretty good. So if it's a 40-footer, Dwight, it needs to weigh 4 ounces. So a 40-footer, any kind of car that's a 40-footer needs to weigh 4 ounces. And it's okay if it's 4.5 ounces. I make them a little heavier sometimes. I just put a number of weights on the bottom of the car. Some of the oil tanker cars that I have that have weights, I couldn't put the weights in them because I couldn't get the tank car off of the frame. So I drilled a hole, and then I took a cup and sand and filled the cup up and got the weight that I needed. So I would put that cup on my scale with the car, and then I got it to, if it was a 40-footer, got it to 4 ounces. Then I would get a little funnel and a little itty bitty straw, put the straw in the hole, and then fill up the funnel with the sand, and then the sand would fill up the car, and then that would add weight to the car. I know there's liquid weight and stuff like that. I like to use sand, and it works. Then I hot glued the hole so that when I turn over the car to work on it, the sand doesn't come out. Because I had that happen once. I forgot to fill up the hole, and the sand came all out and stuff. So, but you know, that's what that is. So this I ordered on Monday, and it came today. It was quick. It went boom, boom, boom. But this came from New Jersey. This is my guy where I get a lot of decoders and stuff. So I opened these so I won't be like Heath taking an hour to open up a package. So these are, remember I told you that the KE 593 wheels have the whiskers on them? Well, these are the Atherin wheels. These are 100-ton wheels, and they have a wire on them. So they'll give me track power. So these are 100-ton with electrical pickup, and the wire's on there somewhere. It's in there, the package. ATHG61382 is the part number. You can see that. You can take a screenshot of it, put it up in the camera, and you can see that. So that's what that is. And that's for the caboose. So after the show, I'll open this up and put it on the track and test for 14 volts. So what I do is I put both trucks on there, and the wires are exposed, and then I take my meter and check it to see if it has power. So that's for after the show. Then if that works, then I'll add them to the bottom of the car. Then I'll go. So now we got this box to open. Now it was really funny. All 3 packages made it to the post office in Kearney, New Jersey, and were going to be delivered today. Then they all shipped it out to my post office in my town, and they were all out for delivery today, which they should have been. So And it said between 12:30 and 4 o'clock they were going to be delivered by. And I go, okay. So it was getting warm out, so I closed the window and I turned the air conditioner on here to cool the room down a little bit. And I get a message on my phone that a package was delivered. And I go, great. One text message and the package was delivered. So I go out to the mailbox and open it up, and this was the only thing there. And I said, I should have had 3 packages in the mailbox. So came in the house. See, the mailman goes down my side of the street first, goes down to the end of the street, then he comes back to the other side of the street. So I was going to sit out there and wait for him. And I said, well, I don't want to just sit here and wait. So I have these 1 inch to 2 to 3 inch branches that I had on the side of the road there that were all over the place. I just had them in a big pile. So I got my cutters that I have, and while I was waiting for the mailman to come back, I started cutting them up into shorter pieces. And I got most of it all done before he came back. So he was over at the house across the street, which one person lives there now. They're moving out. The house is for sale. And I stopped him and I said, hey, I'm supposed to have 3 packages today. You only left me 1. And I showed him the tracking number. And he said, well, what are, I said, the boxes are, it should be a box. It should be a good sized box. I said, 3-4 inches wide by 4 inches tall and maybe 12 inches long. I said, something like that. Well, these are the 2 boxes that came. They're pretty big boxes. So I guess it's whatever the guy had to ship it in. I don't know. So here comes the paper. And here's the first one. Just toss that on the floor. Bubble wrap. And they love to take the bubble wrap, don't they? And we'll take that out. And it's a Conrail GP15, road number 1627. So let's just take it out of the box here. All the warranty, limited warranty, of course. Atherin News, sign up for that. Here's a foam top piece to cover the engine. We'll put these off to the side there. There's the packaging. We'll take that out. Put the box here like this. Put that on the floor. And I think this slides out of here. Slides out like that. That on the floor. And then one of the ends comes up. I never get which one it is. Let me see something here. Let's see if I can put that down there like so. That way you can see me doing this. There we go. How's that? That was pretty good. And they had some stickum stuff on there. That's what was holding it. So that comes off. Then we got the paper. And then they had protections devices. That's nice for the wheels. I guess this for shipping and stuff. Plastic on the bottom, plastic on the top. Then you got the foam for inside the rails. I don't got a pen. Oh, the pencil might be able to take it out. Take that out. Okay. So that's that guy. Let's put this on the floor, get it off the desk. And I'll put that box back together and put that in storage. All my boxes are in storage. So this is the engine. I can now bring me back up here. Like that. And that's the engine. That's 1627. Thanks, John. Yeah. And it's a GP15-1. So if we put it on the track here, I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. Let me guess. Loco number 3. Yep. There's the headlights. If I turn the headlight off, you can see the headlight on. Goes forward. Let's go in reverse. The rear light's on. Don't you love it when it works? So these are, this one is going to be for the track cleaning train. It has 2 box cars on it because you can't put the track cleaning car right behind the engine. Doesn't work well when it's right behind the engine. There's too much jerky moving from the engine. So I made 2 buffer cars, box cars. They're all set up and ready to go. And this is the caboose I'm working on. And then this other box will open. This is a bigger box. As you can see, more paper. And a little bit, throw that on the floor. And this one is a Conrail GP. It's pretty bright. I don't know if you can read that. There you go. Now it's you see it. So that's that engine. Let's take it out of the box. Plastic garbage. Oh, this is even better. This has this sheet. Hey, new storyteller, welcome. How you doing? This one has this sheet on it. I like these sheets because it gives you a breakdown of all the parts. Okay. Put it on the floor. We'll take it out of the box. And that's that one. This one is 1628 Conrail. So let's take it out of its thing, slide it out like the other one. Move the camera down so you can see me. That's what I'm doing. Okay, you can't see my face, but thanks, John. Let's see if we can get this one undone. Oh, there we go. Got it. Little dust on this guy. That's all right. I'll clean it up. Put that on the floor. Take this guy off the track. That's him there. Nobody sitting inside the cab. Maybe I'll put a sitting person in there. I don't know which one of these I'm going to make the lead loco for this train yet. Either 20, maybe 27. I don't know yet. So, ooh. I wonder if there's number boards on here. I wonder if these light up. I'll have to check. If the number boards light up on this one and don't on the other one, then what I'll do is I'll make this the lead one. And it looks like it might have class lights. I don't know if the class lights, let me move my camera back. On the front here, right there, are the class lights. Boom, boom. So I don't know if they work or not. I'll have to play around with this later to see. Let's put this on the track. Firing up. Headlight came on. I don't know if you can see that, but the headlight's on. Rear light works. Okay, they both work. So that's good. So what I got to do then is bring up Decoder Pro, create their engines, and put them in my on my engine table. Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So That'll make a nice looking little train. Now, the box cars, I had NS decals put on them. You know, Northern, Southern, with the bar and everything. Maybe I should make some Conrail box cars or something. Maybe I'll get some blue filament and make blue Conrail and then get Conrail decals. I know I've seen what's the company Scale something. No, never been to New Zealand. I've been to South America. I've been to Europe. I've been to many countries in Europe. I've been to South America. Been to 5, 6 countries down there. Mexico. I've been to Canada. I've been to. Most of it was traveling for business. You know, when I worked, I was in the networking department, and I was setting up the communication equipment to communicate between our main facilities here in the United States to the companies that we had in South America and in Europe and stuff. So, but never been to New Zealand or Australia. Been to Disneyland many times, and Disney World, both of them. Didn't go to the one in Europe. I could have went there, but I didn't. I forget. Well, I don't remember why I couldn't go. I had something else. I had a lead to go to someplace else. So yeah. So after the stream, I'll put them in JMR, in Decoder Pro, and get them all coded up and everything. Oh, really? That's nice. Yeah, I remember going in the Haunted Mansion. Been in that place many times. I lived in Key West for 3 years, and a lot of us sometimes when there was a hurricane, we would go to Disney World and stay there during the hurricane. And the park was open, but there was hardly anybody there, so we got to ride all the rides we wanted 100 million times. Didn't have to pay for anything either. That was nice. So yeah, so that's a pleasant surprise when you take an engine out of a box and it works right from the get go. So they're both number 3, but um, they're going to get the engine number as their address. That's what I do. So I just bring up Decoder Pro and I say read from decoder, and it creates it. Hey, Steve 87, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. Okay, John, have a good one. Take care. We'll catch you later. So yeah, so that's what I've been playing around with, and can't run. I'm not running the trains yet because I have a lot of the cars sitting in a spot on a table in the other room that I'm waiting to get the resistor wheels from. So the guy was on vacation or he was at a show or something, and he came back on Monday, or no, he came back on Tuesday. He went to his shop to work on my order, and he said the resistors he got were too big for the axles. So I emailed him back and I said, I have 100 750 ohm surface mount resistors. If you want, I'll ship them to you because they're small. And that's what I was using to put on my wheels, but then it stopped working and I don't know why. So I'm going to try it again and see if I can get it to work again. But he's supposed to make me ones with 750 ohm resistors because the 5K ones just weren't cutting it. So if he can make them and he's successful at making them, and when I get them, they do what I expect them to do, which is one wheel triggers the BD20. The lower the resistance on the resistor, the easier it is for it to trigger the BD20. So the 5K is just too much. I need two of them on the track to create a triggered event on the BD20. So, and I need it because I have tracks that the cars cover two blocks, and I want both blocks lit up because the car's on two blocks. So, so if he makes them work, then I'm going to go through my other cars, and if they have 5K ones on, I'm going to start swapping them out for the 750Ks. I'll do them a little at a time. Since they're working, I'll switch them out. Maybe he'll swap them for me. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Once he gets them working, then we'll go from there. I don't know what you're talking about, cassette tape cameras. I don't know what that is. Yeah, so I can still hear it running and everything. It's the prime movers is running in that engine, and what I might do is get put keep alives in them since it's a track clean train. This way, if it's running, see the track cleaning cars behind the engines, right? So it won't clean the track. If the track's dirty, the engines are going to hesitate and stuff. So if I put a current keeper in these engines, then they should run over a little section of the track that might be dirty and stuff. So I'll have to see. Now I know Soundtracks came out with a real smaller current keeper. They have a small one, which I have in two of my SD. I don't know what they are, but they won't. The cover on top of the engine won't close because they're a little bit too big. So I might be able to take them out, and these might have a little more room in them. I don't know. I never opened up a GP15 before, so I don't know what's inside there. And I'll see if it's too big for that, then I'll get a couple of smaller decoder current keepers, because I like to get the soundtracks current keepers because they have a connector on, and you can plug that right into the decoder. Okay. Now the boards, some boards have a connector for the current keeper on, some don't. So you have to cut it and solder the wires on the current keeper, stuff like that. So I was messing around with the two track cleaning engines the other day, and when I would run them on a train, they don't have an engine in it, but they have a decoder in there. And the decoder is so that I can run sound in that dead engine, and also the lights. And the lights were flickering. And I don't know if that was because it was going over real dirty track, or I found a wire broke off the solder joint, and I had to reskin it and solder it back on again. I don't know if that was the problem, but this time I put current keepers in there. I had two of those purple Soundtracks current keepers, and since there was no motor in these two engines, I had plenty of room, so I put the current keeper in there, plugged it into the decoder, and that should keep that light from flickering. We'll see. So those engines are going up on the two big trains that go up on the 5th level. So I'll have track cleaning cars in the front on those trains. But all other trains, the track cleaning car is a couple cars behind the engine. And that'll keep the track pristine as it's running around. So I haven't run the trains for a while, so maybe the first time it'll take a while to get it to go through. But we'll have to wait and see how it works out. And everything. Yeah, so I don't know. He emailed me the other day about his problem with the resistor wheels, and I don't know when that's going to get done. And so today I was going to run the one train up on the top level that I was having trouble with it derailing, and I fixed some spots, but I haven't run it since then. So since I got the track cleaning car fixed, I might add that to that train and start running that around and seeing if I have any other problems. So I might do that tomorrow. As you can see, my tabletop is pretty cleared off. I started clearing off all the stuff off the top of my desk, and it's all up on there now. See all that stuff up there? That was what was on my desk. So I cleaned the glass off, and this is an L-shaped desk. I'm sitting here, and I have a section here. Then there's a curved piece there, and then this section here. And when I cleaned off the glass, I could look through, and the bars that go, there's a bar that goes across here, and then there's one that goes back there, and then there's one that goes across the back, and that's what holds the drawer in place. And then there's a metal cover that hides the drawer so you can't see it. And then my desk has a drawer here for the keypad and mouse. And when I cleaned off the top, I could see those bars were so dusty. So what I got to do is take the glass off so I can go in there, because there's a very small gap between the glass and that bar. So I got to get the stuff like the printer off. Then I can pop off this. There's suction cups there that hold it on. Hey, Ronald, welcome. How you doing? Welcome in. So, that's another thing. That's why this is out of the room. So I cleaned up the room. Now I got a big mess on the floor. Hey, Bill, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you in here. You're a first timer in here. Bill Hawk. 65. I'll add you to my file. Good to see you in here, Bill. Welcome. I got a little mess on the floor now from the boxes and stuff. And I'll just put them out in the recycle bin. And then the other two boxes with the engines. I got a shed in the backyard, and I got all my boxes in there. But I got to get out there and organize it one of the days this week. That's on the schedule too, because I want to have all the engine boxes in one spot, all the rolling stock boxes in another spot, the NCE boxes in another spot, miscellaneous. So I might have to build some more shelving in there, stuff like that. I got to clean that out and get rid of some of the junk. I have a couple of old resin printers down there. I might get them out and just put them in the trash. See if they'll take them. I'll put maybe one in the garbage bin, and because the truck comes and just lifts it up and dumps it in the dumpster. So, or maybe I'll put it in a bag and then put it in the garbage bag, dumpster or something like that. So we'll see. So let me bring this back up here for a minute. Let's see, I got to remove that at the stage. There we go. There's my cameras, Bill. I don't know if you've ever seen them before, but this is a program I use called IP Camera. And these are SV3C. Hey, Bob, welcome. These are SV3C cameras. They're all Ethernet connected cameras, and some of them are PoE Ethernet cameras. So I just have an Ethernet cable. That cabinet behind me here is a communications cabinet. I have a network storage device in there. I have a server in there that I still have to work on to get that up and running. And there's my internet connections are in there. My switches for all my computer equipment are in there. So there's a lot of stuff in that communication cabinet. All the devices and all the Ethernet cables go from there to places in the house where I have Ethernet set up, and Ethernet cables go to the train room to wire for the cameras and stuff like that, and to the computers in the train room. I have two computers in the train room. I have a laptop, which is a streaming spot, but I haven't been able to use it because the table's full of cars and engines. and the creepers in front of it. Once I get the creeper out of the training room and in the closet here where it belongs, then I'll be able to start streaming from out there again, probably in another couple of weeks. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that because I want to try that OBS bot overhead camera on the desk. I had trouble with it before, and I think I might have figured it out, but I'm going to try it again and see how it works. So it's stuff like that. And so this here is where I was talking about. Right here, here's the fire station. Now you can see the front of the building there. And if you're standing here, you would see the front of the police station, which is this building right here. And the lights, the trains are parked there, so you wouldn't be able to see the lights inside the building. And I had to drill a new hole there because the light, since I moved the buildings further apart, they're right butt up against each other, facing the other direction, like I was talking about earlier. But since I moved them further apart, the light is outside of the building, and I just ran the wire to get it up in there. And I'm going to drill a new hole for where the police station is. And then I got to build a parking lot for the police station and the fire department. And then down there, there's the 7-Eleven building. And you could probably see some of the light sticking out of the front of the building. What I might try to do is light up the 7-Eleven sign. I don't know if Miller Engineering has a 7-Eleven sign. That's what all my billboards are and stuff. So I got to look on their site and see if they have a 7-Eleven sign. Then I can take that off and put a lighted 7-Eleven sign there. And that'll lighten that up. If I turn the daylight on, then you would be able to see all this stuff. But right now, it's pretty dark under there. Like that big building back there, the train station over there, that's lit up. One other thing I added recently that you guys didn't see. These are 2 stalls for the engines. Haven't put the engines in there yet because they're still working in the yard. And what I did was I added the gooseneck lights on the front of the buildings. And they're a N scale gooseneck light. I didn't realize I got the N scale, and I thought, oh, they're going to be too small, but they fit on there real nice, and they light up that area really well. And so I put one on that engine house and that engine house there. I might add lights inside the engine house later. I'm not sure. You don't hear the chickens? Well, that's because I don't have the cameras. Let's see. If I do this camera, now you hear the chickens? That's echoing all over the place. That's why I don't turn on the camera sound because I get feedback because I have it on here and it's turned it on in the train room. So I got, yeah, it was a monster chicken, yeah. So they're up there clucking away. And so, but yeah, that's, uh, I can hear them in here, but you're, yeah, you heard screaming goats. Yeah, because I made, uh, oh, X sent me a message. I heard a lot of that noise too. Big turkey. Yeah. Yeah, I added other sounds onto that sound mix that I had for the chickens. Well, the only problem, Bob, with that sign is it's all glued together. I don't know if I'll be able to get it apart to put a light in it. If it comes apart, then I can put an LED in there. But I don't know how thick that plastic is for a light to shine through. You know, they weren't designed for lights at that time. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'll take it. I'll take the building off, and then I'll see if I can get the sign off. But first, I'll check to see if Miller Engineering has a 7-Eleven sign because they have all kinds of signs. The other thing I noticed is on this layout, you can see the print a new sign. Yeah, I could. Um, I can always try that too. Yeah, yeah, that's right, Chuck. So up here, you can see the fire there for the the hobos, but no, the homeless people are over here. The hobos fire, you don't see it anymore. So I was working up there one day, and I don't know if I hit the wire or the light came through the panel and it's underneath. I got to check to see that. So that's another note that I made to check that out and remove that and find out what's going on. But there's supposed to be a flickering fire here, like there is a flickering fire there. So, oops, uh-oh, I put it on full screen. I got to get out of the full screen. There we go. I clicked on the full screen button. I did it again. There we go. I got it. You know what I was doing? I was trying to do it on here, and I need to do it here. Now the screen is off. Oh, I don't understand. Press escape. It's weird how that's doing that now. Let me stop sharing. Bring me back up. Okay, and let me remove this thing. Now let me just click on share screen, window there, share, and there we go. Back to normal. Yeah, the share got out of the way. Well, if I can, oh, you know what? Um, something is pick. I think I got a speaker on. one of these cameras have a speaker on because it's picking up my voice and I can hear it in the train room. That's weird. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It was the microphone that I had clicked on. Yeah. So maybe I'll look into making a sign and go from there. So yeah, that'll make it interesting to see. That'll lighten up that area a little bit better. Maybe I'll put a street sign or a street light down on that corner too, because that um, road that goes in front of the 7-Eleven makes a turn, and then it goes across to um, this layout here. The road continues down all the way to the end to the helix. It goes into the helix off to the edge. So yeah, so that's enough for me tonight, I think. Let's eat chickens. No, yeah, well, that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, I have a place where the chickens can get loaded up on one of the cars on that one train. That's why I moved that train to the inside track. It used to be on the outside track, and it had the cars, the cattle cars, and there's one sound car there that has the pigs and stuff in it, and the cattle and stuff. So those are going to stop there at the farm to pick up animals or drop off animals. And I got the corral there for them and stuff like that. So that'll be operation thing to do up there. So, well, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Been on here for an hour and a half, and I like the chicken run. Oh, well, yeah, there you go. Yep, that's what it'll be. Cows, horses, pigs, chickens, all that. So, yeah, I got one other camera that has a microphone on it because I can still hear it in the train room. So I have to troubleshoot that. Yeah. No worries, Chuck. Thanks a lot for stopping in. Everybody, thank you very much for stopping in and spending time with me here tonight. I appreciate you all. Everybody have a great week, what's ever left of it. And everybody have a good night. And we'll catch y'all later. Don't forget to watch Jim Tedesco tomorrow at 6 p.m. And I don't know if Rick the Tree is on Friday night, but keep an eye out for him and everybody else. Okay, happy. Hey, Ed, thanks for stopping in. Just lurking for 15 minutes. Appreciate it. Take care, Ed. Thanks again. We'll catch you all later. Ron, thank you very much. Take care. I'm going to end the stream now. Take care, everyone. Good night.